Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a flesh and blood podcast, breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Derek and Logan.
Hello, and welcome to episode 222 of Flesh and Pod. My name's Logan. I am your host. As you can see, by me not getting interrupted in the intro, Charmer's not here. Instead, sort of. I'm into this, actually. With me instead is the co-owner of AGE, as well as one of the many voices of the Flesh and Blood World Tour, and absolute Flesh and Blood fanatic by his own admission, Bryce Platz. Bryce, thank you so much for doing this. Little known fact to everybody, we've barely spoken prior to this, maybe like 30 seconds in like Kansas City.
Yes.
So
I'm so glad you remember.
Yeah, things stick in my head. You meet people and you try to just put that away and go back to it. But so with Charm Route, I was like, you know what? I just want to see if this guy wants to come on and deal with my bullshit. And it turns out you just said yes right away. It's like, well, here we go.
I am a professional bullshit dealer with her, so I sounded like another Monday to me. I don't know.
You do?
What is today? It's a Sunday, actually, right?
It's Sunday right now.
Yeah.
This will come out till Tuesday, but as I do it right. In which case, I'll be in Arizona drinking beers in the stands of a baseball stadium. And
good on you, man.
Yeah. It's I do it every year. I go to Arizona, to Phoenix area for a week and sit in the sun, get out of the Midwest during the last
this
bastion
season?
of winter. Yeah. And allows me to decompress a bit. I generally record from there. And so this time I was like, you know what I'm going to do? Because it's been of all the episodes of Flesh and Pod, 222 now. I have been on all of them. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to take my equipment. I'm going to take a week off and it's going to be awesome. And then I get a message from Josh Scott saying, hey, it's about time for me to come on. How does this make it?
And that's not just any episode for you guys. That's where you have to
it's a
really
marathon.
pull out the stops and go long.
And so, that episode will be a day late because I will not try to do that from the road. So I will be flying back home, getting show ready, and then hopping on and recording immediately, editing directly after, and getting it posted because of you fucking people. But anyway, I love you. But yeah, it's wild that the content sphere of Flesh and Blood has always been a big melting pot of a lot of different people from a lot of different areas, right? And you being on the West Coast, me being in the Midwest, the crossover really never had a chance to happen until I saw you in Kansas City. It stuck in my head. I was like, I want to talk to that guy. Let's do that. And you were magnanimous to say yes from a hotel room, by the way, while you're traveling.
Yes, and it actually worked out really nicely. I actually tend to like being on the West Coast because I get to be done with my recording with my guests like way earlier than I normally would. But in this case, we're in the same time zone. I'm doing a job in Vancouver at the moment. No, Vancouver. What am I talking about?
You're in Toronto.
The other Canada
right
sphere of the world. The one that has a completely different time zone, incidentally, that lines up with yours. So yeah, no, it worked out really nicely.
It is an hour off of mine.
Oh, is it? Yeah, you're central then, huh?
I'm central. Yep.
Okay.
But I get done earlier, which is even better because I do have to work in the morning before hopping on a plane.
Awesome.
Jobs are relentless, by the way.
I hear that.
They don't really care about what you're up to. But did you do anything in Flesh and Blood? I mean, it's wild that you're in Canada while there's a Canadian Calling and you're not at the Canadian Calling.
It's devastating, actually, especially because at the time of this recording, Calling Montreal wrapped up mere hours ago, and holy crap, was that a good show. I mean, we had an undefeated Vincent going into top 8, and she didn't lose in quarterfinals, thereby breaking the undefeated curse that has hit players of the caliber of like Shoma Yamamura in the past. So, and on Vincent, no less, making her look like a meta pick. It's so freaking cool.
it's a conversation that I've had with Kevin Murphy and Mara Ferris several times about Vincent being actually good, just nobody good enough to pilot her.
Mm.
And I think we just got shown that there is somebody good enough to pilot her, and we were all right. She is actually good. And what do you expect? It has Runeblade attached to it. It has to be good. By definition, it has to be good. But let's talk about Calling Montreal really quick. So one of the things that, came up a lot over the last couple of weeks was attendance at these events. And so Calling Montreal actually had 283 players. So a decent middle-sized calling. It was won by Connor Bryant on Dash.io. And defeating June on Vincent in the finals, I believe. And
correct.
Such a run. Mm-hmm. Like, my God. But Connor Bryant also a dash master. We all know that. Connor's been always right there for a long time. Gets over the top on this one. And a classic run, a classic match. The best part of this event, in my opinion, and feel free to call me an idiot, is there are no Syndras, there are no Gravy Bones, there are no Verdances in this top 8. It is Dash.io, Vincent, KO Armed and Dangerous, Ira, Dorinthia, FaB, and the 2 Acilios. So let's take that. 7 different heroes, none of them being what, outside of Acilio, being what people kind of considered what the meta is. So what does that change, and what does that say for people looking at the metagame going into ProQuest season to the CC shift next week?
It says that it could be very much shaken up from what we have come to expect. I mean, you got to take all of this in context. Shakeups in the meta are a commonplace thing. Sometimes not even from brand new sets or BNRs, but because of the Living Legends system that we have in place. But in this case, we have been in arguably the same meta for over a year at this point. I mean, Super Slam did incredibly little to really shake up Classic Constructed in a meaningful way, save for maybe the 2 copies of Fatigue Pleiades that made their way into the top 8 of Calling Columbus. But even that was
an outlier. Respect on Blood Follows Blade on her name, but okay.
Okay, fair enough. Kasai did win a tournament, Calling Seattle, but I don't know. I think that was more. I think Blood Follows Blade was more like pulling people into the class rather than necessarily like pushing Kasai to a newfound limit. Like, I mean, she's a mid-range hero through and through, so it's like little points here and there. But I mean, the guy who won it is on my team, Chris Ayali, and ultimately, he said that like his choice for the deck was because Syndra was running rampant. In his opinion, he does the Syndra thing just better, right? Because you were just getting turn value, because every time you draw that card, we all know what Kasai does.
We do.
So, but bottom line, to your point, this meta is brand new. It's not just Silver Age that's shaking up our game. Classic Constructed has also been impacted massively by Compendium, and without even a big ban and restricted announcement. So it's just an exciting time to play the game.
I couldn't agree more. And right now, like, even seeing like an Ira doing well, seeing really cool. A KO Armed and Dangerous are back, baby. Like, it's obviously KO's been very good for a long time at this point, but has ebbed and flowed. And then the top 2 decks are things we haven't seen really at the top in quite a while. Like Vincent, ever. Like, let's be fair. Ever. And Dash.io, has kind of fallen out of favor as the aggro deck du jour just because of Syndra, of FaB, of these aggro decks that were able to generate different amounts of value that were like, oops, you blocked through my boom grenade, I guess I don't win, And because I think it was, I played Connor in the Calling in Columbus, and
wait, were you there? How did we not see each other?
I have no idea. I was there. You were.
That's crazy, actually.
Yeah,
I was casting Calling Columbus. Yeah,
he was casting with
that's
Ellie.
crazy.
I
do not remember seeing you.
Yeah, I was there.
And Mercy as well, making her debut.
And Mercy, that's right.
She was outstanding.
And so I remember, so I played Connor in, I believe, like round 6 or 7. I think it was 6 because then Eugene C 43'd me with Reinar. But there's a picture of it. It's any rate.
Oh wait, were you that? I feel like I remember this picture.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it was me. And mistakes were made. Apparently, I shouldn't have let Eugene roll a 6. And
what it is.
No shit. And so he maxed velocity to me twice, but didn't win because they didn't have boom grenades attached to them, so I didn't care.
Yeah.
And I could take, and it's Kasai, you're right? I was playing Kasai. So the first one, I believe I just blocked out. I just said, yeah, sure. I don't care. And the second one I let hit, but he had already flipped an item off the top, using Dash's ability because he needed the action point. And okay, works for me.
Yeah.
So I was able to eat another max V, and it wasn't enough. But that sort of made me think, okay, there's a point in this deck where if they just don't see the thing, then the deck falls apart to a deck that can just block, and then can send a 2-card hand that's decent. That's because the deck doesn't block great, and my deck blocks exceptionally well because warrior. Yeah. So I think that's where this is going to hinge, and it turned out that's where it hinged on. Connor ran cold. I ran exactly lukewarm, which is what Kasai does. Yes. And
that she does it better than anybody else. That's the important
thing. It's always lukewarm. It's never cold. It's always lukewarm. It's so good.
Sometimes it's even a little hot. Sometimes I would call it hot.
A little hot, but not lightning press and Silver Age hot.
No.
Nothing's that hot. So, no, there is. It's called KO. But in this case, we're in that spot where I think now Dash kind of comes up a bit because Acilio doesn't block. So now you're just racing a race, and Dash.io does that really well.
Yeah.
You get to play into a FaB. Same story. Like, Naive didn't want to block.
No.
No, not at all. You look at, the Dorinthia definitely is going to block, but the KO doesn't want to block. So on and on and on out through that, which leads you into, wow, okay, so Dash.io. Dash.io is good. And that's interesting. KO Armed and Dangerous being good is interesting. Ira being good is ultra interesting. Because now that list is much different than the Ira lists we've been seeing do well before. I mean, radically different.
Different, but also kind of a callback to what we expect from Ira. I mean, my first experiences with the Scarlet Revenger was something more like that. 9 defense reactions and just really consistent Kodachis. And it's tough to play against, but also it's a necessary evil, I think, in the game of Flesh and Blood, because I don't think you are a well-rounded Flesh and Blood player until you know how to attack those kinds of a deck, especially on the aggro end of things. I mean, I got in during the Lexi days before she actually got juiced by outsiders. and we had to contend with freaking Oldhim, man. And even with all of that outsiders juice, it was so hard to get over the top of Oldhim, and you had to have a game plan from the get-go. You could not leave a point on the table if you wanted to get there. And I do think that is a healthy thing to have to understand. And we haven't had it for a long time.
We haven't. No, we haven't had, and you can tell because, the old Oldhim players have kind of faded a little bit because they don't have a hero that does the thing they like to do.
Right.
And the Ira deck has always been, you would talk yourself. I remember doing this shit against Katsu too, but you would talk yourself into going to one is actually okay here. And that's a lie we told ourselves.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't okay. It was not going to be okay. There's no way it was going to be okay. It was like going to 2 against Reinar. It's not okay. It's never going to be okay. You're going to die. That's it. So that's where that's what this felt like again. Was that Ira that just consistently churns through damage, makes sure you can't do enough to make the deck sweat, and just keep forcing you into telling yourself the same lie that I can take this and it's okay. And eventually you just can't. And that's when they just take tempo and then you're done. Game's over. That's it. Because I'll never give it back.
Yeah.
So I was impressed by that. Overall, I just thought that this was one of the coolest callings to watch in a while.
And the community definitely responded in that way. I mean,
yeah.
From the coverage side of things, just because I have Ethan in my ear all the time, I know that we have been breaking viewership records pretty much every single calling, which is in general, like, forget ProQuest season and all that. It's just an indication that the people out there really like what we're doing, and Flesh and Blood is growing. And it feels so damn good to be somebody that, like yourself, that is screaming from the mountaintop, like, this is the best TCG you could possibly be playing, and have the world start to respond to it. It's really, really cool.
It is. And I think that, you know, the viewership numbers show it. I know that attendance, and honestly, it's really weird when there's callings in the middle of a Pro season or an RTN season. It creates a level of tension with, do I travel to this, or do I stay 30 minutes from my home to play in this thing that also qualifies me for the Pro Tour? And a lot of people are going to make the decision to play locally. And I played locally this weekend, and I went 3-3 with Briar. I started 3-1, lost 2 win-ins because, did you know that the block value of Fry and Lightning Press is 0? And in a Briar mirror, that can be very bad.
Turns out.
And so, and obviously I played against I'm sure you've casted or at least been around enough of Bryce Stroyek's matches to understand that he is very good at Flesh and Blood. And he was playing Oldham, and I see my opening hand. I'm like, I got a plan into this. I'm going to be good. My opening hand is 2 reds and 2 evergreen reds. And I'm like, or I draw my plan in my opening hand. Cool. I am dead. Because as soon as he sees one of these, which I have to pitch,
of course,
he knows that his clashes are basically free. Or at least close to free for the rest of the game, and that I can't get to my end game until I hit pitch cycle, which is bad, like very bad. And so he was like, yeah, once you pitch the evergreen and then pitch 3 reds to play the other evergreen from your arsenal, I knew you were dead. Like, yeah, so did I. But
man, he's back.
He's back. Well, he's back in one format because and we had a Silver Age showdown in Montreal as well, which again, 144 players, which I think is what I would expect. Basically half the size of the calling every time.
Sure.
I think is what I'll expect out of showdowns. And this one, Brody Spurlock wins it on Briar. Briar being the menace that we all know she is. And the top 8 reflected that there were 3 Briars, 2 Lexi. Snapshot Lexi starting to pick up points.
Dude, I'm so glad about it too, because I've been screaming about it from the rooftops forever. I love that deck so much. It was the first deck I really ever played, but it was in Blitz. Before all the Rosetta support. Yeah. It's so much freaking fun to play. Anyway.
It's a blast. Continue. That's why I own a cold foil.
So good.
I'm
so jealous, honestly. I'm actually really jealous of that.
I honestly thought that people just didn't know about Snapshot Lexi. But it turns out that I think there was a lot of people that prior to the contents of the Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 decks being announced, they had convinced themselves that Death Dealer was getting banned.
Interesting.
That sort of made people pull back because, like, well, why do I want to be doing this deck when Death Dealer is going to get
Azalea has Barbed Undertow, right?
Right. Yeah. And then they put a Death Dealer in Azalea's deck.
Right.
And I was like, oh, well, never mind. We can just do this. Because there's 2 or 3 in my local ProQuest. I think there are 2 or 3 Snapshot Lexis in the room, including one in the top 8, 1 or 2 in the top 8. But then there was an Oldham and then the 2 KOs, which are just, again, that same level of
so good.
Yeah. So many numbers. Buckwild is a fucked up Flesh and Blood card. What is this? Like, why?
So good. So good.
God,
I mean, Strongest Survive. I mean,
yep.
Rough Up is a sick card. I mean, like, they have got the majority of the KO deck in CC is just rare role players, right? I mean, like, you remove Show of Strength and Swing Big, and you're still doing monstrous numbers over and over again. So it is should come as no surprise that good numbers equal good. In a game that is as grindy and mathy as Flesh and Blood.
Cards like Wild Ride and Bare Fangs do literally everything you want them to do in life and more. So you just get full, and then Buck Wild, and then full value out of all these things because of the increase from KO's hero text, and it just turns into a damn flooded nightmare. But in my mind, I played quite a bit of Silver Age. I do think that we still need some work to make this a healthier format, personally. Mainly with, we have a lot of homogenization into aggressive decks. That doesn't mean that non-aggressive decks don't have a place. It seems like we have the whole in Silver Age right now is it's hard to find a spot where mid-range is viable. Also very hard because Warrior outside of Decimator Great Axe, kind of bad. So because there just isn't the payoffs for the different Warriors' abilities. They just aren't there. And I think that I think that gets changing
in a very different flavor of Warrior.
It could.
I would argue
it very
could. Still kind of I don't know. I guess a Raiden Bolton is pretty mid-rangey.
Yeah, it is. And it's not a pop-off deck. You want sabers to pop off, right?
Right. And you need like V of the Vanguard to pop off, which is also a majestic. So
right.
It'll be interesting. I might pick that up.
Isn't V of the Vanguard rare? And it's
is it? Hold on.
Is it really? Because Lumina is majestic.
I could have. Oh my gosh, you're right. It is a rare.
Yeah, you can play V.
Okay.
Are you back? Are you so back, baby?
Dude, so I've never been a Millbur. I've never been a Millbur in my entire life. I didn't touch Warrior until Fang. That was the only thing that brought me in. And the only reason I liked it was because there was a gimmick to play around. And then all of a sudden I was like, holy crap, this whole like blocking with 3 cards, sending 1 over and over and over again is actually a sick play style.
It's really good.
But I've still been sworn off Bolton until maybe now. I don't know. I mean, like I've had Ellie in the casting booth next to me over and over again. No matter how much she talks about how sick Bolton is, I'm like, just let it go in one ear and out the other. I love myself too much to let myself become a Bolton player. I mean, I played Levia at Pro Tour Levia. I don't want Mansant to hear this and think that I'm getting his pronunciation right. I played her at Pro Tour Los Angeles, and it hurt me a lot, but that was still miles better than playing Bull. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I am slightly surprised because Ellie can be very convincing. So I'm slightly surprised that she didn't accomplish Bolton pilling you a little bit, but it's good on you for resisting.
Yeah, thank you. I do my best.
Yeah. And I also think that, so in chapter 3, we're getting Blaze, and that's a whole nother thing. I'm glad I have my cold foil. And Steven is losing his damn mind. Like, as of right now, I guarantee you he's sitting in Texas and still just buzzing and like doing laps around his living room. But I think that we'll at some point in time we're going to get Dorinthia Quicksilver Prodigy as a playable hero in Sage, and that will give us our second, then have 3 warriors with a real identity, and being Bolton, Fang, and Quicksilver Prodigy, and so they can kind of let the Decimator slop exist and not worry about it. Kasai's not going to be relevant until you find a way to pay off Copper, and that ain't coming anytime soon. It doesn't seem like, although we could just get Mastery Pack Warrior, and that would fix everything potentially.
We are getting 2 Mastery Packs this year, if I remember right. Yeah.
Yep. And I kind of thought Warrior was going to be 1. I thought it was
what makes you think that?
So with Hala coming in, her support package is going to be somewhat minimal.
Okay.
And it's kind of the same with Jarl. Jarl and Mastery Pack Guardian kind of went hand in hand. That makes me think Hala and Mastery Pack Warrior are going to go hand in hand. Because then you just get to kit her out and go.
Yeah.
And I think that hero is going to be a ton of fun to play. No joke. I think
I really hope so. I really hope so, because even with like the sharpened payoff cards that we've seen in Compendium, I'm still not sold.
They're not there.
They're not there yet.
You need more.
Really, I mean, she's obviously going to get a 6 specialization in the Armory deck, I would have to assume. But yeah, I hope it's a lot of fun, because she, in general, just has a cool identity and is a sick warrior. I mean, Warrior is one of those classes that is oozing with flavor in our game.
Oh,
I mean, I'm coming up short to find a class that doesn't ooze with flavor in this game, but every identity is so sick. Guardian, okay,
Guardian,
never been a Guardian.
It's the boringest one.
The boringest one. No offense to Guardian, you guys do your crush thing as well as anybody. But Liev has the most Guardian flavor, and he's like the Bizarro Guardian,
right? Pleiades has flavor, but Pleiades doesn't have Guardian flavor. Pleiades has this other entirely different flavor.
I'm very much alienating myself from all Guardian players, and I'm just memeing. Whatever. Guardian is cool too. But anyway, Warrior has so much flavor. It does make you want to see them get their due in a certain respect.
Yeah.
So yeah. I really hope that Hala delivers on that, and that the Armory deck is something that is impactful, I think, is what I really hope for it.
So, Bryce, I do this to everybody, but so you're no different. Bench 3 people. Go.
Bench 3 people? Like 3 players?
No, bench 3 heroes. If you want to bench 3 players, I'm good with that too. But you can start with me, I guess. But bench 3 heroes. Are we talking about
CC?
Silver Age. Bench 3 heroes. You're gonna get a vote.
I'm gonna bench 3 heroes, and I'm gonna go for the most fun I think I can make this meta. Okay, I'm gonna bench Kano, and it's not for the obvious reasons. It's literally just because I think that Blaze can't possibly be good if Kano is there as well. No offense, I'm beyond stoked for Blaze. I don't necessarily think that she can do what Kano does better than him.
Sure.
So I really want Blaze to be a playable deck, and so I have to ship Kano away. Do I want Briar gone? I think I do want Briar gone, just so I can keep my lightning presses in Snapshot Lexi.
That's the only way you are keeping them.
Yeah, I don't want her to pay for Briar's sins, ultimately. Sure. I don't want Lexi to catch any flack. Especially because she has a particular angle into aggro decks like Briar. But if it's like she catches a stray lightning press ban, then we're sad pandas. The third one is really difficult. I don't hate Decimator Great Axe. I really don't. I think that is a cheap way to get out of this, quote unquote problem, if you think it's a problem. I really think that deck is targetable with different strategies, so I don't want to obliterate it. So I'll say Oldham. Just
okay.
Just get out of here. I don't want to deal with that.
Don't want to deal with Earth and Ice Reacts.
I don't want to deal with Earth and Ice Reacts, and it's not because I think fatigue is a healthy thing for the game. Let Terra do it.
Sure, and Terra's good at it. Honestly,
yeah.
But yeah. I think that I would take your first two and agree completely. As a Briar player, it's toxic. It's always been toxic. It's never not been toxic.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit, because I don't know. I don't really share the same opinion that it is completely toxic. Is the most toxic thing that she can do is deploy a lightning press on a turn where you've got a burn up shock? Do you think?
That is up there, because if the burn up shock is played first, now everything needs to be covered up completely. Everything's a 0 for 4. If it's mid game and some of the equipment's had to get cashed in on earlier turns, it just makes it into an inevitability. That's part of the problem. So good Briar players know to play to that game state.
Sure.
The other thing that's toxic about Briar is literally Sigil of Suffering.
Fair.
The card is if Flick Flack needs banned, why is Sigil of Suffering legal?
It's a very good point. Like I personally think that should be gone before Lightning Press. That's my stance on it.
Agreed, honestly.
Yeah.
Why are we allowing, because you don't let, Ninja have a 0, a 0 for 6 block that has no other value to it, but you're just letting Runeblade have a 0 for 5? Or
because
something
Runeblades deserve everything and more.
Exactly.
Have you ever thought about that?
We always know the answer. Yeah, it's that. It's just that. That's the answer. And so I think the toxicity of Briar is that everything comes in for 4. Go again is just so easy to do because non-attack, and that's what you want to be doing anyway. It is not coded. Most things are not hard coded to need to be in the elemental sphere to be good enough. And then you have things like Burn Up Shock and plus Lightning Press. You have and every now and again you just have, I made an embodiment last turn, so I get to block 4 with my Arcane Seeds life. So now I'm a Guardian for a turn. So there's just so much of that from Briar's ability alone. Her text, and then her card pool is enormous.
Yeah.
There's just so much. So I think those two pieces are what makes Briar toxic versus like Alexi, where Lexi also has a giant card pool, but Lexi has the Ranger problem, right? Where if it's a extended game and you run out of arrows, you run out of ways to win unless you also had some attacks going too, which plays antithetical to what the deck wants to be.
Right.
So I think Lexi in the guise of Silver Age, a lot of ways, Lexi is fixed Briar. And I like that spot for Lexi. Kano, kind of the same reasons. The misery of Kano and Sage goes both ways for Kano players and people that play against Kano. Because either way, it turns into a lot of non-games because Kano didn't find what they were looking for. It's like Kano didn't find what they were looking for. Or Kano had it all and you just were dead on the spot anyway, and it didn't matter. So pick one. And that's really what you're doing. And I don't think, especially in a 20 health format, that those sort of polarizing turn cycles are of interest to anybody that wants a good game of Flesh and Blood. I disagree on Oldhim only for the fact that KO is, I believe, every bit as numbers toxic as Briar. And if, KO, when Briar has the ability to throw a 16-point turn at you, and that's great. KO can do it turn over turn. Because KO fuels himself. And that's the problem with KO. Also, why the fuck does the Sage Brute have the warrior level of armor suite?
It's bonkers.
Can we discuss this?
It's bonkers. What? I mean, like we've got that, but then on top of it, there's a Spell Void 3-piece in the mix.
Oh, yeah.
To handle the Kano matchup. I'm just like,
why not?
It is wild. It is totally wild. Yeah, it's indefensible, which is why I thought so much there, because KO is the obvious third choice, but trying to be unique, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, and the irony of it, of course, is like, if I am viewing this through the lens of like, how can I possibly make Snapshot Lexi viable? I honestly think that she loses points if Briar goes away, because then KO is the de facto aggro deck. And I mean, your Arctic Incarcerations just don't hurt as much.
They don't
because
do
he's got the blue base to deal with them. Yeah. I mean, you can't time walk KO like the same way that you do Briar.
And I think the other part of that, so one, I am 100% convinced that LSS developer ban is Briar. The developer bench is Briar. Mm-hmm. So Briar's gone regardless. To that point, I think you can sneak in Oldhim in that slot and have Kano, KO, Oldhim, Briar gone bench for the season. Chain comes back in. We have the same problem. We had this discussion last week, Charmer and I, where Chain's problem is literally the text on the hero card. And how the hell do you fix that? When that was the case with Briar in Tales of Aria, making 1 billion embodiments. So you attack 100 times, and then the next turn you block 1 attack for 10 with a card. And yeah, whatever. I think that we have run into that problem again, where Chain's hero text is the gate. So,
but it's also unerrata-able in the same way that Briar was.
Yes and no.
You think there's an errata that fixes that?
Yes, I hate errata. Just gonna go ahead and put that out there.
Fair enough.
And I rail against it at all opportunities. Either ban the damn card, or print it the way it should have been the first damn place. This was definitely came up during the Skyward Serenade debacle, but in this case, I think you can make a functional errata by removing the word Runeblade from Chain's text box.
Huh.
And so that you don't give go
you
again.
Read the runes.
Right. You can't do that. So it takes away some of those more explosive turns. All your rune gate stuff can still do it, but the things that make the rune gate turn over turn craziness don't work now.
Okay.
And that was the idea. Like, do that and see if that's enough of a deterrent to make it so that Chain just doesn't run away again. Or the idea just Chain runs away again, gets a double season, comes back, runs away again, gets the 3 season, which is effectively a lifetime ban. And so you just have these really horrifying seasons that are coming. It's like, oh God, here comes Chain. Well,
here comes Chain season.
Let's we'll grab on and hold on through this one. The other thing was a way to, in my mind, because I came up in Magic, and hate cards in Magic are glue. They are what makes the game playable used to make the game playable in high levels, because you always had an out to something's whatever it's doing. So in this case, Chain is definitely patterned after Dredge, and you had answers to Dredge in Magic. You had ways to delete a graveyard. You had ways to prevent things from being played from a graveyard. You had a bunch of different ways to prevent Dredge from happening. So you would need a generic that prevented cards from, like a null time zone almost, that lets you prevent cards from being played from banished for X number of turns. Right? Something like that could give, all the decks the ability to play into Chain. Because right now, it just isn't there. Now, you being a Lexi player, you do have the opportunity to just make Chain cry. Because what do they do with 3 Frostbites or 4 Frostbites? Not a lot, turns out. Because you have to pay a bunch of resources to activate Chain's ability now. Yeah. Have fun.
Even just, Blue Winterspite is, I think, unarguably a great card, right?
Right.
And then you tack on the fact that in Lexi and also in Iceland or in certain situations, you tack on a Frostbite with it. It's decimating.
Yeah, it's real bad.
I've crippled Briars just by flipping a Winter's Bite and then sending it. So, I do hope that there are still ways to target Chain when he inevitably comes back around, and I do have a lot of faith that Brian and the rest of the dev team have their eyes on it, and they're going to make some bans that make sense, right? Obviously they know that Chain is going to be a big deal, that otherwise they wouldn't have banned him in the first place. But I do really hope that I do think that there is going to be a game plan for when he rears his ugly head again. And almost no matter what, I'm going to be playing Chain because he was one of the first heroes that I wanted to play. And I'll never forget, I was at my first or second armory, I think. And, folks found out that I was new and they're like, okay, well, we were doing blitz armories at the time. and they're like, "What are you going to play in CC?" I was like, "Oh, I'm really stoked on Chain." I mean, he was my Monarch Blitz deck or whatever, and they're like, "Well, he's 9 points away from Living Legend, so you might want to find a new pick." So I have been on a quest to find a format where Chain is playable for a very long time, and ironically enough, I skipped it for Living Legend. I went with the Dromai deck that the team was brewing instead. So I was actually really excited when Silver Age reared its head, and I was like, yeah, I'm playing Chain no matter what. Then I played it at, I think it was the first time I like really played it was at a side event in Calling Seattle, which I was casting.
Yep.
Easy 4-0. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's egregious. I mean, after playing that, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, Briar is a really toxic thing. I'm like, Chain is freaking crazy, man.
Yeah, Chain is just egregious to a fault.
Yeah.
And whereas Briar is, I mean, they're both Rune Blades. They're both talented Rune Blades.
Right.
So you have two of they both share some of the same problems. It's just that there's nothing to stop Chain from doing the thing. There just isn't. And that's rough.
Yeah.
But so, again, I think that there will be bans surrounding Chain. Chain will they'll try to pull him back, and if they can't, they'll just let him go. They'll print another one and they'll let him go.
And
so
maybe I don't know, like thinking about Chapter 3 and Raiden coming in and thereby Bolton potentially being viable. They're the one class that kind of has some playability into that kind of thing. Or sorry, the one talent is light.
Yeah.
So maybe Bolton can put in some of those hate cards that you've been talking about.
Yeah.
Of the flavor that like targeted dredge.
Yeah. What is it? A ray of something.
Right. It's like
it was a cold foil promo. Yeah. I remember it because I think I own a cold foil of it somewhere around here.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. The Transformers get the place of honor, not the not the random cold foils I own.
From Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah, forget that stuff.
Jesus, please no. That set was. If I'm very cognizant of the fact that things are not always going to be made for me, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But talk about not made for me. Holy shit, Dusk Till Dawn. That one in Bright Lights. Not made for me. And the times that the random times that I've just needed cards out of those sets, and I have to look over and go, the two sets that I didn't collect a play set of every card. So it's a coin flip if I own these things or not.
Yeah.
Great. Should have listened to anybody.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Except the one saving grace for me for Bright Lights, I didn't dislike it that much just because it was playable in a limited format out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime that I can, like, I make it a policy of mine to never buy bulk or buy field product, I should say, unless I can entertain myself with it. That's just how I move through life. Otherwise, it is so much more economically sound for me as a person with zero luck to buy singles. Just get the things that you need and move on with your life and never think about it again. So Dusk Till Dawn, like, this is a reason that supplemental sets are just not made for me at all.
Right.
Invariably, when I buy them as sealed product, I feel terrible when I open them. Like
the experience is miserable.
It's so bad, man.
Yep.
And I am so glad that there are people out there that enjoy it, and that it means that LSS can offer something to scratch that itch for people. But I absolutely hate it. I need something that I can get my value on just by having it. And also, when the dev team has a challenge to make commons and rares balanced for limited play, that invariably makes it so, like, I don't really care if I open up the chase cards. I still get to feel like, I spent my north of $100 and got something out of it. my wife and I did buy a couple boxes of Dusk Till Dawn, and my wife and I tried to like put together a limited experience with it. I played Levia, she played Bolton. It was abysmal. Which, like, no fault to anybody because they just didn't design it to do that. But it just goes to show I was like really trying to find the value in what I had just thrown really hard-earned money on, and just didn't come to fruition.
This is where you need to learn the love of cubing, because you can fix everything by cubing. Cubing's the best. And I will make sure to have my cube with me, maybe both of them at that point in time, in Vegas. I will have...
What is your cube?
I'm the one that designed the Runeblade cube.
You're the Runeblade cube. Sick.
Yep, that one's mine. And then the Warrior cube will be finished when Hala comes out. So I will have the Warrior cube and the Runeblade cube. And the Runeblade cube has some rave reviews from a lot of people. The inaugural Runeblade cube winner was actually Josh Scott.
Of course it was.
Just last-ditch efforting people because he's an asshole like that.
I bet he was like crushing people on the side playing Go at the same time. This is what he does.
He got called away to do a disqualification at Worlds while he was Runeblade cubing. And so he turned his game over to Nick, who picks up the cards. He's like, Josh goes, okay, just finish this for me. And Josh's opponent's like, what the fuck? And Nick's like, well, I know what to do. And Josh's like, oh yeah, you'll know what to do. He looks at his hand, sees the last ditch effort. He's like, oh, I know what to do. And so Nick's like, well, that was easy. I'm gonna go check on Josh. And so he leaves, comes back. He's like, all right, Josh has got a few more minutes. And so we were getting ready for the finals of the Runeblade Cube and just waiting on Josh. And I said, so was the first question when you went back there, was Josh's first question to you, did you win? Yes. Was his second question, did you last ditch effort him? Yes. Like, okay. We're on the same page. So
here's your chocolate.
It was really funny because there's Go Bananas in the cube, because why wouldn't there be Go Bananas in the cube?
Of course not.
But I just change it so it's booster tutor. And so there are boosters that sit in the box. So right now it's Crucible, WTR, Aria, and Compendium are sitting in there.
Fun.
And you get to pop the booster, and you can take any non-arena card and put it into your hand, and it has Shapeshifter, and you can just play it.
Whoa.
And Josh does it in the finals to a Everfest pack, because those were in there at the time. And he takes a Talisman of Warfare, and he completely shut down his opponent's arsenal from turn 0 forward.
That's incredible. I was assuming he had a Rosetta Thorn as well.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, sick.
That's tight. Why wouldn't you? So I was like, God damn it.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah. I do hope I get to play that one day.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'll have it in Vegas. So
hell yeah, brother.
A bunch of the Euro people already want in because they definitely don't get to do it because all the cubes are, for the most part, in the US. So they just hear about it and then they want to play them. So,
well, I want to use this opportunity to put out, I guess, to shout out a team member of mine. His name is Anthony Pham. He's on the cubing train as well. He hasn't really been inspired to do one, I think, up until this point, but he has what I think is the most ingenious cube I've ever seen. He's just a swell guy. I mean, like, even if he goes 0-2 at a tournament, you can see him in like a group of 6 people playing Monopoly Deal or Cockroach Poker and having way more fun
Cockroach Poker. I mean,
so freaking fun. Anyway, he's just that kind of guy. He pulls people from the room into his orbit. He's like a black hole of fun, I guess I could call him. And so he designed this cube that he calls Shanty. Okay. It is all high seas. It's, I believe, nothing but commons and rares. But the idea behind Shanty is that it's 1v1. Both players are playing all 3 heroes with all weapons available to them. So you are Gravy Bones, Marlin, and Puffin at the same time. You can legally activate Compass, Red Spine Manta, Hammerhead, Spitfire, and Blunderbuss on the same turn if you can legally do so. There's also a shared deck and graveyard. So you get into fun situations where it's like, oh, I'll activate Compass. I'll take a look at the top. I'll activate Gravy. Opponent activates Gravy in response, gets rid of the ally that you were hoping to draw.
Yeah,
but also it's a shared graveyard, so you could cast that ally anyway. There's a lot of really interesting stuff that happens just in
interesting.
Of course, you're also playing with Treasure Island, so I've played one round of Shanty in my life, and it was some of the most fun Flesh and Blood I've ever had.
That one sounds really interesting. I wonder if he has it listed on the FaB Cube, because I'll have to go take a look at it if he does.
I don't think he does. I think it was just like a pet project, but I'll encourage him to get it up there.
Yeah, because I don't know if you've ever looked at the FaB Cube website. It's Loose Leaf T, Tyler Loose, Judge.
Love that man.
Now he's
one of the best smiles in the community.
Absolutely, and it never leaves. And he is a computer dev by trade, and so he built this website.
He's like the backbone of all card databases in Flesh and Blood.
Sure is.
We have to go on this tangent now. I mean, like even the card reader that my co-owner Justin developed for our real-time graphics engine, the thing that powers our card reader is all Tyler's work. Ultimately, I mean, he is the program that keeps Flesh and Blood broadcasts alive. It's really incredible.
Sure is. And so he built in these insane heuristics into the FaB Cube website, so you can see all of your everythings. When you're building a cube, you can see ratios, you can list your heroes, and it tells you how many cards are legal in the cube for each hero, so you can balance it.
Incredible.
It tells you absolutely everything. And I was just like, when I first went to build the Runeblade cube, I'm like, I'm going to make this a project and, take me maybe like a couple weeks and whatever. Then I saw all of this data. It took me months because I just kept tweaking. And I was one card off. I put a Dread Scythe in the cube, which made a Fatigue Briar a default deck. And I was like, we can't have Dread Scythe in here.
Yeah,
that's unlucky. And so I had to swap that out for Reaping Blade, but which is still good. And so it's the FaB Cube that website is so perfect for it's Tyler. What do you expect? But
much love to Tyler.
Much love to Tyler. That dude is I love that man in multiple different ways. He's a good friend. He's a great dude to hang out with. He does insane work.
He's also an incredible judge. He gives a lot of himself and his hours to our community, and I love him for that and so much more.
Yeah, no, all the love in the world to Tyler. But so you should get FaM onto the FaB Cube though, because I want to see this shanty. I'll get
on it.
So Nerd Rage Gaming, you obviously you're AGE, not Nerd Rage, but Nerd Rage is a Chicago-based game store. They've been running a Magic events and a Magic circuit for. When did I start vending Nerd Rage stuff? I want to say 2015-ish. So about 10 years. And they've decided to dip a toe into Flesh and Blood. And so they wanted to have a larger Flesh and Blood event. They worked with LSS to get the support for it. Effectively, they're having an event on the 14th of March that is effectively a showdown. Mm-hmm. It has all the same support. It is a 5K PTIs to the top 2, gold foil to the winner, tournament packs for participation, Silver Age. Like, it's a showdown. It just isn't named a showdown because there's no World Tour points attached to it. And this is partially me also pimping the event that I'm going to go to and I want to see people at. But that's kind of the thing is this is the independent tournament side of things, which is something you're extremely familiar with at this point. The AG Open Series has been it went from something that was relatively small. I always knew about it because Joshua Rath is pseudo local to me. He's an Iowan.
No, he's not. Oh, I love
Josh.
Goggles. I
is,
love Josh so much. He is.
Yep.
I don't know, one of the many players that make up the mosaic of the AG pro team and make it a group of people that I love to spend time with. He joked that he drove his tractor to Calling Columbus, and that's what we used as our steed throughout the weekend. He also gets you can tell he's from Idaho because he gets really stressed about parking in cities. Yeah, I know. It's a running joke that I never say the right state.
Because you're hitting me too. Strays over here.
So I was going, invariably, I try to wait until Josh is least expecting it. I'm like, yeah, but wherever you came from, Kansas? And
at least that was adjacent.
He hates it. I get noogies every time I see him. Anyway, sorry. Joshua Rath, you were talking about him. Yeah. I couldn't stop but gush about him.
And so, like, I'd heard about the AG Open Series from Josh, you know, and in that realm when the first time he ever came around us, which was, we were in Eastern Iowa for an event. Maybe it was Farewell to Wraith.
Wow,
it might have been before that even, but
wow.
And that's how I got to, you know, have and know that the AG Open Series existed. You've obviously grown beyond that at this point in time. Mm-hmm. Everybody basically knows you exist. And the independent tournament scene, in my mind, was part of the backbone for competitive Magic. And it was vitally important to fill in those gaps between Grand Prix and Pro Tours and things like that. And also in the seasons that were off seasons, they had something to glue the game together as a community. So I want to take a few minutes just to talk about independent tournament structures and really pick your brain on where you came from and why you decided to do this. So let's start there. Why did you start the AG Open Series, and why do you think that these types of things are important?
So I do, first and foremost, have to just give a disclaimer. I did not start the AG Open Series. I have only been a co-owner at this company for a little over a year at this point. The owner and operator has always been my partner, Justin Lewag, who is much more comfortable behind the scenes and behind the camera. He is a software developer in his own right, which is exactly why our facelifted website looks so freaking good. He was able to accomplish that really hefty project in the course of a month, and that was because he locked himself in AG Studios, which is his garage, for a month, and didn't talk to anybody until he came out and he had a finished product. And Justin, just like you, had this shining example of independent, like what an independent tournament series should look like. He was a huge fan of the SCG Open Series, and that's exactly what AGE is modeled after, because Justin would look forward to that more than the Magic Pro Tour or the bigger sanctioned events. And he thought that Flesh and Blood deserved something like that. Before that lofty ideal, he really just thought that Southern California wasn't getting the events to drive a player base, and he got really hooked on Flesh and Blood. So he wanted to be the guy to make it happen. And I have to give him credit all the time. And I tell him, it's incredible that you started this. Only an idiot would start this company, because
correct.
It's not fruitful by any means. It takes somebody with a bullheaded and stubborn vision in order to get it off the ground. And so I enter at a point where right before the AG Open Series became a legitimate thing, when Justin was doing a series of tournaments called the So Callings. He wasn't a dad yet, but he was still making dad jokes. And I compete. I think the first ever, it was like he did 3 So Callings, and the third one I came without a CC deck. I just played like a side event, like Tales of Aria draft or something like that. And I got a sense for what was going on there. He also got the chance to run a couple Battle Hardens, including the first ever independently run Battle Harden, independently as far as LSS not using somebody like Channel Fireball or SCG. So Justin got to run the first one of those. Yeah. Exactly. Which was really cool. He was not ready by any means to do that. And in certain ways, it went as disastrous as it could. There was a fire alarm mishap in the middle of the day. Like, players had to run out of the room, either leave their cards or scoop. They had to restart the game in the middle of the round. Like, the guy has earned his stripes and put out a lot of fires. And I'm telling the story of the beginning of AG because I have to give credence to it, because my involvement of it would not have begun if it hadn't gone through these trials and tribulations. I just, at the time in my life I am right now, with a young child and a wife that I really care about, I'm not in the business of, starting companies at the ground floor,
Right.
companies that are literally like suckling at the teat of a niche card game. Like that is too much risk for me. Right. But at a certain point, Justin was showing that like this thing had some real legs as far as ways to branch out the business and make it fruitful. And the main thing that got me on board was this real-time graphics engine that I talked about before. Yep. The pilot program for it was it was a way to show draft broadcasts. It had, the card picker. It would organize everything into packs. And then the most exciting thing about it was once the draft had concluded, it put the casters in the driver's seat to be able to be like, okay, cool, let's go ahead and take a look at the reds. Let's go ahead and take a look at a bunch of other different keywords. Like I want to see how many, it was part the miss fail at the time. So I want to see exactly how many stealth attacks you have. I want to see exactly how many crouching tiger generators you have, or what have you. Right. And he demoed this to me and I said, holy crap, that's really sick. He ended up getting a couple meetings with LSS. And so I was like, okay, I think this company's actually going somewhere. By that point, I had really become involved. I think by that point, I was the lead caster at AG, just because there were some staffing changes. There was a hole to be filled. Justin reached out to me. I jumped in, and it went well enough to keep me around. And so it got to a point where it kind of made sense. It was actually my wife who spurred me into this ultimately. She was like, so this thing looks like it's actually maybe worthwhile in a certain respect. She was like, should we approach Justin about like investing or something like that? And so we went out to dinner, he and his wife, me and mine. And by the end of it, ultimately, I was signed up to be a partner of AG. And now for a little over a year, it's been Justin and I. And the way that I thought I could bring a lot of value is by, number one, being the face of this company, because apparently I had a knack for that I didn't really realize until I started casting. And also the big undertaking that I wanted to get going was the remote broadcast system. So I developed our first iteration of the remote broadcast system, and we needed with the goal being to do more contract work for LSS. We wanted to be more involved in the productions that were sanctioned by the parent company, because we figured, that's where the stability is in a certain respect.
Yeah.
And so as a pilot program, I started our first expansion. We headed out to AG New England. I had to pretty much do that by myself. And the big challenge was not only the logistics and the investment and the time in figuring out how to do it, it was also earning the trust of the players in the area and driving up attendance to the point where this thing wouldn't go belly up in 1 year. And so we learned a heck of a lot by the time AG New England was done with its first season and when the Players Championship concluded. But ultimately, I think we built something that, while AG, like you mentioned, is a known quantity at this point, it means so much more when we get to reach out to more people. And that's exactly what independent circuits are all about. Yes, the biggest moments in the game happen on calling streams or the Pro Tour. But if you want to convince people to buy into this mantra of play the game, see the world, if you want them to be buying $1,000 plane tickets at the teensiest chance of winning $5,000, then you have to give them a foundation, a platform to play the game and feel at home. And that's exactly the mission of AGE. So no matter how big we get, no matter how many times we expand, or wherever this thing leads, That is the driving force behind everything that we do. We get to make people like Garrett Johnson, who nobody has ever heard of, but is one of my favorite people in the game of Flesh and Blood. We get to make Elliot Sloan, a brand new father who just loves to freaking play Runeblade, and he finally gets a chance to do so again now that Sage is out and Briar is doing their thing. We give those people a spotlight. We give them the opportunity to play on stream, and we give them the opportunity to play at an incredibly high level month after month. And that, I think, is where the biggest opportunity is right now in the game of Flesh and Blood. You can't expect the parent company to do all of this. That is a lot of regions to represent in a way that a big company kind of just can't all at once. And I say big company. Ultimately, LSS is still like a fairly small company when it comes to the number of employees. You can't expect them to be putting up events like we do in the number of regions that need them. And so we want to be the people that do it. And ultimately, we think that that is the best way to build up this game. That is 100% the driving force behind AG. We want to convince the world that Flesh and Blood is the one and only TCG that you should be playing.
So, tacking on to that, and I put this question in there, and I don't think I want to rephrase it, but I think I want to reframe it. What role, if any, should LSS fill in supporting independent tournaments and circuits? Now, I know I completely agree with your position that LSS is not they do not have the manpower alone to be everywhere and everything all at once. But that doesn't mean that support disappears. And I talked about this last week, where my entire way of finding out about events is through LSS's events locator and or the World Tour page. So when you have something like AGE, you have something like the Nerd Rage Gaming event, you have even at this point the SCG Con that happened in Milwaukee, where we had a 33-player 5K. When you're talking about those events, they don't appear on the front page of LSS, and digging through them in the events locator, you won't find them because they're not something in the drop down. They're not. You can see events around you, but you have to dig through how many armories before you ever find the thing that you might be looking for that you didn't know you were looking for. So in that regard, what role do you think LSS should be taking, if any, to help these sort of nascent boots on the ground? I actually think I would call them more of a groundswell type of event structure. How do you think LSS can support those circuits and those events better than they're doing now?
One of the things that we have been screaming about, not screaming, we're very polite people, but one of the things we constantly go back to LSS about over and over. I'm in Canada. I'm tapping into my Canadian side. I'm actually pretty Canadian in my affect, at least the caricature of a Canadian. One of the things we are consistently asking for is more LSS sanctioned prize support. And don't get me wrong, they have been supportive of AG specifically. Every one of our players' championships is essentially a ProQuest Plus, in that there are we get a ProQuest kit based on the current season, we get a PTI, and we get a common gold foil. But ultimately, we need something to drive our standard attendance, especially because the Players' Championship, while it is the culmination of our entire tournament, it represents nothing but a loss for us, right? Because it is an invitational
how those work.
Tournament. Exactly. And while we love, it's like my favorite time of year. I love doing the Players' Championships because we have a unique format behind it. It represents the culmination of so much hard work from people that I see every single month, and I really have a vested interest in seeing them do well. The pain point for us is staying afloat all year round. And I mean, ultimately, when you're putting up $1,000 every single month and you're charging $40 a head, which is, don't get me wrong, a hefty price for people to pay for a random regional tournament, you are still in the red until we're at something like north of 40 attendees. And we don't hit that every single month. So ultimately, we need something to draw more attendance, or at least make it so that we can take the edge off of the company pay bill in order to support this pricing. And so one of the things we've been asking for a lot, which seems like a tall order, is to make every single AG Open have a ProQuest kit rather than just the Players' Championship, and do something more special for that. For various reasons, we get a no on that, which is totally understandable in my view. I think that is changing very rapidly. And one of the steps that I see LSS taking is this new Battlegrounds initiative. And I think this is a massive step for the game. I really do hope that we can, in some way, shape, or form, occupy one of those battleground spaces. Like, our dream is for each AG Open to be a battleground event, and we can offer World Tour points to people when they walk through the door. All of a sudden, that becomes a way more enticing event to go to. And ultimately, it's not costing anybody extra cash, at least in the form of your bank statement, right? And all of a sudden, that makes people much more interested in attending even just our opens every single month. The rub up until this point is that we are not a local game store.
Right.
And that is something that is vital to our business model, because we rely on local game store partners in order to host our events. And oftentimes, because our margins are so abysmal, we can't offer anything in terms of like ticket split or anything. And oftentimes I don't even want to, because the inherent risk behind it feels like I'm inviting a friend into a bad deal, or like encouraging them to bet it all on black or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
always do that.
Always do that. Sorry, bet it all on 00, shall we say? Maybe that's a little more. No. Yeah, we don't do that. So it's always been this really complicated point for us, because LSS wants to publicly be supporting LGSs because that is their business model. Lift up the brick and mortars, because they become the nexus for players to play a game that is touted as the game to play in the flesh and blood, in person. You don't get to do that without LGSs. And so us not technically being an LGS makes it like kind of a weird conflict of interest for them, as far as I've been able to understand it. But we do work hand in hand with them. We have a very good working relationship with LSS, and they remain committed to finding a way to support us, which we are inevitably very thankful for. So the TLDR of your question is more sanctioned prize support, more ways to provide equity to our players that don't require us to go bankrupt and give up on this dream that is still fledgling ultimately.
Yeah. Do you think that you have an issue with attendance barriers and enough eyeballs? Do you think that that's part and parcel of what can be done better? Do you basically, in my mind, there should be a section on the event locator or World Tour page where you can drop down and it shows other events. And so you can then see in a glance what everything is. Right now, there isn't anything to do that. Do you feel like the lack of eyeballs is part of where that attendance barrier comes from? And what would you do to break it?
So the eyeballs thing is an interesting question, because yes, more visibility is always a better thing for us. The trouble, I think, with putting it in somewhere like the events locator is that I don't think Southern California is having any issue finding us, right? Like, I don't think the regions that we represent are having an issue finding us. Where that would really help us would be, what we need is more eyeballs on our stream so that more people understand what we're doing, right? Because even though for you it's a pretty household name, and for a good portion of the flesh and blood world that's the case, we could always use more viewership. Like, we do pretty damn well when it comes to our streams. We are definitely the biggest streamer outside of the Flesh and Blood TCG YouTube page when it comes to events. But we're still not at their numbers, right? And
no,
some people might think that's obvious, right? If we have events like in the events locator and stuff like that, I don't think people find us unless they're trying to attend an event, right? I think that tool is very much built for people that are trying to go to an event. And if if they plug in the 5 kilometer radius thing, they're not going to see Southern California if they're in the Philippines, right? So one of the ways that we have tried to make this work in the past is when we have run battle hardens and the like, we try to get ourselves shooting out our broadcast via the FaBTCG YouTube channel rather than our own, just because inherently they have more subscribers and more eyeballs. For whatever reason, it kind of predates my involvement in AGE, but it hasn't panned out that way. So there are ways like that, like co-streams would be super duper helpful to us, and other stuff like that. I am curious about the about ways to provide visibility that aren't directly co-streams or us streaming through the YouTube page, though. But
we could just have Tyler build us a stream aggregator for every stream that's running every week, and then push it out to all the social media platforms for us. That's something I'm sure he'll do. If he listens, I swear to God.
We're already standing on Tyler's shoulders. I mean, if we put any more weight on there, that man breaks.
I don't think he does. That's the fucked thing. Is I honestly don't think
he has boundless amounts of energy. Another reason I really like him. So yeah, ultimately, I do think there is an avenue where we get more visibility from LSS. I also 100% understand the the weird issue that we supply to them. Like, any support they give us is not support that they're giving to an LGS. But we just, I think the reason that we're able to do what we do is because we don't have stocks of cardboard that we constantly have to be moving. Like, we 100% get to focus on being a production company. And so I think it ultimately is just going to take a change in philosophy with how LSS supports other players besides LGSs in their purview. And I think that is happening. I think the wheels are turning. And while we would obviously like it to go faster, I don't want the upshot of everything that I'm saying to be like, we're never going to get what we need and we're on our own, because I don't think that's the case. I think that everybody that we work with at LSS has been really accommodating with what they can give us. It's just we'll get there eventually. And in the meantime, our goal is to remain strong and frugal in our own right, so that we don't do something like some independent tournament circuits have done in the past and throw way too much money at a tournament series and go under, because, like, let's face it, even if you put up a 10K, if you only get 50 people, you're beyond screwed. So
you're out a lot of money.
We're just keeping ourselves with high production value, good games of Flesh and Blood, and a stubbornness that cannot possibly be beat.
And I think understanding the niche is exactly as important as understanding the logistical, like the monetary and financial logistics of running these things.
Yeah.
Because if you have these illusions, or some cases delusions, that your first event's going to have 200 people and it's going to be this rousing success, man, I got a bridge I want to sell you, because that's not happening. And that doesn't, and when people are like, well, is that because Flesh and Blood isn't popular? No, that didn't happen in Magic. It didn't happen. It doesn't happen in Pokemon. It kind of happens in Riftbound randomly, but I think that's more IP than anything. I'll die on the hill that I think Riftbound's not that great of a game, but to me, it's definitely that sort of grounded approach. Understanding what you are, what you aren't, and what you want to be are three distinctly different things. And if you don't have an understanding of all three, so one's goal setting. Goal setting is always important. The second is realism. You need to be realistic. And the other one is understanding your limits. And I think that's where people get lost. So you understand that the limit is, if we were an LGS, we would be in a position that is much harder to attain versus what we want to be. So the reality is we just aren't going to be an LGS. We're going to be a production company that then fills a role. That being said, there has to be a spot where you would only do this if you saw growth potential. There's no way that you go to the lengths you're going to without seeing the potential for growth. So both in the games and events sphere, as well as Flesh and Blood as a whole, where do you think the biggest growth potential lies?
For Flesh and Blood specifically, or for AG?
Yes.
Yes, all three. Flesh and
three.
I'll take Flesh and Blood first.
Okay.
I think the biggest growth potential for Flesh and Blood is the counter mantra to play the game, see the world. I think it's play the games, feel at home, which is exactly the mission statement of AGE. In order for this game to grow and continue growing, I think you need grassroots tournaments like this in order to give players the experience and the confidence to buy that plane ticket, fly halfway across the world, and engage in the way that the founders have envisioned. And that doesn't happen without, practice on stream, or it does happen, don't get me wrong, but it's a whole different beast when you can give people that experience and the confidence to go out and play the game and see the world. For AGE specifically, it's a twofold answer. So number one, while remote broadcast was a thing that I was specifically focused on when I first joined as a partner, and the pilot for that program was AGE New England, I have now kind of been convinced that the real potential for what we're doing is the expansion project itself. So the multi-year plan, goal, dream, call it what you will, is for us to support enough regions to where our Players' Championship event can be one day, one time, at one spot in the United States, where every single region that we represent comes together, and they battle it out in like a March Madness style bracket. They battle out of their region and into the top table, where everybody watching at home, or heck, even in the venue, when, say, we can get something like a showdown attached to the Players' Championship, can wave their flag and root for their respective regions. Like, I just want New England to win because I'm from there and I think they're awesome. Oh, hey, I would rather SoCal win because I'm a massive Anthony Pham fan. We want to be the people that build the stars in Flesh and Blood. I mean, case in point is Colin Boy Wonder Erickson. I'm sure you know him because you're a Kasai player.
Yep.
He's got fans from all over the world, and that happened long before he had anything close to a Calling top 8. And it was because he dumpstered Peter Budensick, Kasai versus Enigma. And he's also just like one of the sweetest human beings. We want to be the platform for that. We want to be the star makers. We want to make hometown heroes into household names. And I think it kind of goes hand in hand with where the most potential is in the game at large. The second prong of the answer is in terms of, what should I call it? I should call it content creation consolidation. Triple C. I don't know. I'm coining this right now.
Sure, sounds great.
I'm sounding like a corporate maniac right now.
Listen, I am a corporate maniac. You are sounding.
Okay, there you go. So you're speaking about, you're understanding, you're smelling what I'm stepping in, shall we say.
I definitely am, yeah.
AG Premium is an exclusive content service that we have just launched at the beginning of this year. It's wrapped into a brand new facelifted website, the one I mentioned earlier that Justin locked himself into his garage in order to perfect. And we think we can provide a lot of equity for Flesh and Blood in terms of giving you a one-stop shop to show up and get all of the information that you need to properly, show up to your ProQuest the next week with confidence, to buy a ticket to that calling because you've read Jacob Clement's article on value and you know how to use the value framework to work your way to a victory or to practice better, that kind of a thing. We ultimately want to be what SCG Premium used to be for Magic. We want to be the front page of Flesh and Blood. And ultimately that doesn't exist right now. Right now, we are fractured between, YouTube here for a lot of amazing free content. We're fractured between MetaFi, which in my opinion is getting absolutely out of hand, like $20 decks this way, that way until Sunday. Patreons for specific content creators, which is all well and good. I think you should be able to support people directly if you want to. We just want to create a melting pot of all those things. We want Flesh and Blood to have a home. And we think that we are the ones to provide it. One, because Justin is a monster software developer and he's made a website that really is clean and works well. And number two, because we're the biggest player outside of LSS when it comes to streaming events. So we have the best conduit for advertising for the site. We can funnel the people from the Flesh and Blood world to where the eyeballs matter most. And we hope thereby we can also provide a lot of equity to content creators, make it so that they don't have to post a guide on MetaFi and hope. They can post it to AG Academy and rely on the fact that two to three times a month, they're going to get 15,000 eyeballs on what they're trying to accomplish. People will walk into the site and see what they're doing. We also think that we can provide a lot of equity to content consumers, not only because we're consolidating all of this information into one place, but also because we know what the pain points are for people. I think that paying $20 for a random deck is kind of bonkers, and we think we can price control that a little bit better to make it both equitable for our content partners and the people that are buying the product. So AG Premium gives you access to all of our premium articles. Every single one of those premium articles also goes free in 30 days. So it's really more of like a Patreon. We're more of like the PBS of Flesh and Blood ultimately, because our mission is to provide equity to players, whether you trust us with your $10 a month or not. But it also gives you discounts on all of our events, which hopefully will be coming to a neighborhood near you if I get my way. It also gives you like bonus matches and a ton of other stuff. So we really think that we are the people to consolidate the Flesh and Blood universe in a meaningful way. And that is where we are putting all of our eggs at the moment. That's, besides the expansion project, where we see the most growth potential.
Yeah, that's interesting. So we've only had Brian on the show once, and I remember asking him what's missing in Flesh and Blood content, and he said articles. Basically SCG, like Star City Games. That's what's missing. You're missing the everyday articles and all that stuff and written content, and that's what we're missing. And I was just like, in the most digital of digital eras,
right?
You're telling me that you think there's a home for the written word, and the worst part about saying that out loud is I agree with you. What the hell is wrong with me? It's a little bit of I go back in myself for a second and figure it out. But a lot of that is because people digest all content differently. That's just the first thing you learn in any communications school ever is Marshall McLuhan. It is the medium is the message. And how to leverage that is exactly how you get through to people, because you can never make something that is for everybody. It doesn't work. However, as long as you make it accessible through medium and other things, you've made a successful product. And that was where I applied what Brian said. And then it was just funny. You're talking about that. I'm like, it's that was the one, that one. Yep. Okay. Moving on, what, I don't know if you saw it. I'm stupid for me to think you didn't, but did you catch the little omens of the third age, little 15 seconds of tastiness?
You better believe it.
Obviously great. I love those little sneaky short bursts that get people thinking and talking and wondering, and it got my juices flowing a little bit. So what are we expecting here? What do you think we got?
Okay, so another disclaimer. I continue to stand on the shoulders of giants. I actually commissioned an article from a teammate named Austin Summers, who is a pretty well-known board state gamer. He top-8'd nationals in Minneapolis the last time it was hosted there on Prism. Unfortunately, got absolutely bodied by Aaron Grace on Enigma in quarters.
Destroyed.
Yeah, but he was dominating a lot of players all the way through Swiss, including me. He was my, I think, round 4 pairing, and I was on Azalea. I knew exactly how it was going to go. Anyway, I've been being preyed on by illusionists since I started in this game. It's not a big
deal.
Yeah. Kindred spirits. Austin is a lore fiend. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I commissioned an article from him all about ways to predict the future of Flesh and Blood via the lore, because LSS is incredible at leaving Easter eggs, as we have learned time and time again.
Yep.
And also, we also tried to make it a article about building decks with these concepts, because this is something he is known for as well. He'll literally ask himself, what story are the dev teams trying to get me to tell through gameplay? He thinks about the game in a very different way than anybody else. In a fantastical way, in my personal opinion. And the article that he came up with, I think, predicts exactly what we are going to see in this brand new set. The thing that he laid out was a couple different lore points. Some of them about Florian kind of leading the Rotwood back into the cycle of life and death, et cetera, et cetera. But the through line of it all was that we are going back to Aria. We've got the lore drop of Orion, or Orion, whichever way you like to pronounce it. And so that's probably not a huge surprise to anybody, but he also wove in this whole situation with the old ones, which I think is that demonic imagery that we kind of started to see old ones during the trailer. I think it's one of the old ones, because in the lore, there was a whole bastion. I'm gonna absolutely butcher this, but the way I understand it through Austin's article is that there was a contingent of people from Aria that stood against the old ones in the old age.
Yep. Right. Jarl and the rest of them. Yep.
Jarl, yeah. Oldham is kind of like the last bastion of that.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Wow. I'm so glad you're here to help me fumble through this. And so Acilio coming back into the mix, as he mentioned, like pretty clearly, was a sign that the old ones were returning. And Orion, a ranger, or what were they called? Stalkers, hunters, or something like that.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. Stalker sounds right.
Yeah, something like that. So Orion is part of this order that helped guardians like Jarl stem the tide and stymie the plans of the old ones. So I really think that it's going to be an Aria set where they are standing against the old ones. And that prediction does not come from me. It 100% comes from Austin Summers and that beautiful mind of his. So we were totally Discord messaging during all of that, and especially when Ellie and Scott were having their little tongue-in-cheek moment where Scott was like, it's pretty icy here in Montreal, and Ellie was like, well, it's going to be shocking in just a moment. And we're like, yeah, it's going to be ice lightning. We're going back to Aria. Here we go. Knock it back. Austin predicted it.
This is the Aurora comeback set. Like, we knew it was coming.
100%. So it's gonna be more Rune Blades, but more importantly, I think that might mean I'm getting an Ice Ranger. which could be beyond sick as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I don't think they would do. I don't think we'll see dual elemental talent in a draftable set, maybe ever again.
I don't think so either.
Which is sad to a degree. I am one of those people that I drafted Lexi from the start of Aria. Like when Briar was not errated, I was drafting Lexi because I was guaranteed to be the only Lexi at the table.
Yeah.
So
and I bet that's fun.
Oh god, it's so good. And I think my biggest damage turn ever was in like a 24. Because I just had all the things. Like that was the draft I was past to Voltaire. And I just went,
that's so sick.
Oh.
I guess I'm playing Lexi.
Yeah, and had I think I wound up with a last pick honing hood in every pack. It was 3 honing hoods. I'm just like, so every time that I would break one, I would just, because it was a 3-round draft, right? Every time I'd break one, I would just tear it in half. and they'd be like, because I'm like, it's broken, it's no longer usable, so I just tear it in half. And they're like, huh, you don't have that for the next round. I'm like, nope, I have this one. And so, and so that was I had Voltaire. I had every single, you think of an arrow, you think of a lightning card that matters in Lexi, like electrifies and shit like that. Oh, I just had them. It's fine.
Right.
We're good here.
So tight.
But what people don't know is that, you know, Aria was a bad draft format at the beginning because of Briar. Aria became an S tier draft format as soon as they eroded Briar. Briar's still the best deck, but Briar doesn't run over an Oldhim by being able to block with one card, and doesn't run over a Lexi by being able to block their dominated tall on hit, shock you 1,000 times attack.
Yeah.
So that made it into a more fair format. Rosetta Thorn's still a fucking mistake, but
of course.
Well, and it.
God, it's a beautiful mistake, though, man.
Oh God, I love Rosetta Thorn, but there are layers.
It's so sick, man. It's so sick.
It should say elemental to start. Like we can start.
Fair.
Why does Winter's Wail say? Oh, you know, never mind. We're not going to do this. But that was. I think that's one of the things that people overlooked. I think that that Aurora coming back is actually going to be a good thing. We're going to lose a lot of the speed out of CC soon, and having some replacements, FaB getting the glow up, as well as, you know, getting another aggro, you know, good aggro deck in there is, I think, is vitally important, to make sure that we're keeping, because I think you probably heard us talk about it, maybe not, I don't know if you listen to the show, honestly, but actually I do know you listen to the show, never mind. And so because you told me that you base your interview style on how I do it.
That's not what I said. I said I used you as research.
That's right.
For Joshua Scott.
Yep, that's right. And I was like, that's actually pretty cool. But the thing, you know, the triangle of 3 decks that occupy completely different spheres is vitally important in Flesh and Blood to a developed and healthy metagame. Because you need the ability to understand what 2/3 to be able to attack 2/3 of the top in order to be viable. And if you're running Scattershot, that makes everything congeal into one deck being the absolute best thing you can be doing, and that's unhealthy. So we're hitting that point where we actually need an aggro deck. We need another one to hold that triangle together, and I think that that's where Aurora will help fill that in, since we are going to be losing some very shortly.
Yeah.
Well, Bryce, you are the guest, and the rules on Flesh and Pod are simple. When there's a guest, they get time to talk about anything they want. This is your time. Go.
So before we started recording, we started going on a little bit of a nerdgasm about broadcast stuff.
Yeah.
Which I was really enjoying, because I work in the film industry, you work in the broadcast industry, and I was really enjoying that. We were talking about Betamax tapes, which is a really big blast from the past. I mean, like, people have heard of film, they have not heard of Betamax.
No.
And yet it is like a marked point in our shared career history, which is really cool. So I don't know. The film industry has been unbelievably slow since the writers, even in Los Angeles, where I live, and arguably one of the biggest hubs in the world for the film industry. So I kind of just want to talk shop for a little bit. Is that cool?
Fine by me. We can talk shop.
Great. Okay, great. So let's see, where do we start though? We were leaving off at Betamax, how freaking big Betamax tapes are, how much recording time they have. Okay, so I'm going to ask you then. We didn't get to the end of your story in broadcast. Are you still in it or no?
No. So I did. My son is, and
he's how old's your son, by the way?
22.
22. Wow.
Yeah, he'll be finished with college with an eye towards sports broadcasting this summer or this fall. He graduates in the fall. He transferred.
That's awesome.
But with an eye towards sports broadcasting, he really just wants to be a baseball broadcaster. He caught genetics are a bitch, and he caught all of the strays from me when it comes to loving baseball, talking into microphones, making entertaining people. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, there's definitely a level to being a broadcaster, being a content creator. I fought, and I probably haven't gotten into this in a long time, but I fought tooth and nail against becoming a content creator for the entire time I played Magic. I was a middling successful Magic player. I, had some SCG results, was, I only qualified for one pro tour, but in Iowa, there were sickos galore in this fucking state at one point. And so it was a hard road, and you always felt it when you went to bigger tournaments. You're like, oh, feels a little soft, honestly. But I always resisted the urge to hop back in front of a microphone and hop back in front of a camera. And so this show was me embracing it and then kicking myself and going, damn it, I should have done this, because as much as I bitch and complain because I'm a 45-year-old idiot, in reality, there's a reason I've done this for 222 weeks straight. It's not because I hate it. It's because I do love it. I do enjoy it. I do like talking to people like you. I do like talking to an audience, and then, having that I almost like get excited by the level of accountability that being vulnerable in front of a camera, even though you have the powers of editing, I pride myself on having the bravery to leave the idiot in, because I think the most important part in broadcasting is giving them as much of your genuine self as you possibly can. And people will relate to that. When people meet me in person, every single time you're like, you're exactly the same. Like, you are correct. I am literally me. That's the only thing I know how to be. And I feel like that's one of those things in broadcasting specifically, where people think that they're always playing a character, and they don't realize that the best character they can ever play is themselves. And I think that gets lost in the sauce. And that's why I love listening to, you on the mic. That's why I love listening to Ellie. That's why, I love when Fun gets in the booth, because he's a goofy bastard. That's just who he is.
Yeah.
That's who he is. The same thing with Scott. Scott's a goofy bastard, and he does it so well. Steven, same way. Just the personality shines through when people meet him. He's the same donkey. Like, that's just who he is.
Yeah.
And people can kind of see through the fake. And I like that is, and that's who I gravitate towards. And the most important, God, this is supposed to be your segment. Here I go. But the single most important trait in humanity is self-awareness. It's knowing who you are and knowing who you are not, and being willing to change. Those three things are the most vital part of being a good human that you can possibly have. And in a lot of ways, it's sorely lacking in our society today.
Mm.
And my hope is, by being the transitive property, if you will, if you want to be a scientist about it, that me being my genuine, stupid, vulnerable self in everything I do gives people the courage to do the same.
Yes, that is your final point. Is like, I wouldn't have phrased it the same way, but my own philosophy in how I approach this is very much the same. So, I host, believe it or not, I also host a Flesh and Blood podcast,
Look
which
at you.
I think 90% of the people that play this game can probably say at this point. But
it feels like that someday.
It's like that some days. And I was like, am I really going to start doing a podcast? Which, by the way, I cannot do the 220 some odd weeks that you have in a row. I take the stance of releasing a show like maybe once a month ish. But nevertheless, it's probably one of, like you, it's probably one of my favorite things that I do in regards to this hobby now, which is ironic because I also resisted, because I was like, what? I want to make a job or a hobby out of my hobby. No, just do the hobby. But nevertheless, here I am. And one of my main objectives in doing that show is to be authentic in a way, and also to show that I've researched my subject in an incredibly intimate way, so that they can, it breaks down the barriers and they can be their vulnerable selves. Because I do think, I mean, it's a talking point for Flesh and Blood that the community is so great, right? We all just kind of inherently say that to one another, and we hold it to be true. But I really freaking believe it, man. There are so many cool people that play this game that are fantastic outside of it. And so the objective of my show is to break down the parasocial barrier that I think a lot of people feel inherently, that they can't ask personal questions outside of this niche hobby that we both share, because that's the comfort zone. That's the only thing that we have in common. Ultimately, I think humans are humans, and Flesh and Blood, the Flesh and Blood community is like the paramount example of that fact. So yeah, I think I ultimately wanted us to go down this tangent just so I could like talk about cameras and stuff, but ultimately we're talking about something that's much more interesting to me.
We can also talk about cameras, but
well, no, I love the tangent we're on, because it is all about how to unlock the authentic self of somebody else in a way, and inherently you have to do it in yourself first.
Correct.
But when we can do that, it alludes to the same thing that we're trying to do with AGE, which is make people look like stars.
Connect.
And it's not by telling lies; it's by unlocking the truth that already lies within.
It's very funny. I never got this off the ground, but I had it set up as a banger thing, and there's definitely a very public thing that happened around the time I was trying to get this off the ground that made it so I just never did it. But I had this concept for a show called Real People in Gaming, RPG. Might as well play on it. I mean, not everything can be FaB. So, but I have a lot of real. Right.
This is actually putting together something that I'm incredibly embarrassed that I didn't get until now. The show notes you sent me were called "This Week in Fapping," and I'm like, this guy can't. He can't really be saying fapping to me, right?
100%.
He 100% was. But now I get it. I'm like looking at that. I'm looking at Flesh and Pot. I'm like,
Yep. We are the exact type of show that would have that name. And but so I was going to like develop this show because I have a lot of friends in the gaming industry in general. And I've listened to their struggles, but there are so many things that like it is so duck on water in this industry so many times that people think things are going great, but there are these inherent struggles that people just don't get because they just want their thing. They just want you to produce the thing they want, and they don't understand the sweat equity and the parts in life that drove them to where they're at. I knew this, and one of the questions I often ask guests, and I didn't ask you mainly because I knew that we were going to nerd out at spots and was going to go long no matter what. And I didn't want to get into the Josh Scott of it. So I'm saving it for the next time you're on.
I'm trying to break his record, right?
Shit, you got a long ways to go, boy.
I know, I'm not going to make it.
It's so long.
Next time.
But, I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to give you the thing that I've never given anybody else. And that's the ability to think on this question. And the question is, what is your origin story? And it's however you want to tell it. And because origin stories, I think, are what, much like comic books, it gets to the core of what makes a character special. And our origins and where we come from gets to the core of what makes us special. And a lot of times it's good. A lot of times it's bad. Most of the time it's a big mix of both. Because, they say that iron sharpens iron, and that's correct. But iron also breaks bones, if you didn't know. So it goes both ways. And we all have these scars. We all have these experiences. We all have these accomplishments that stack on top of each other. And eventually that stack turns into the person across from you. And I think it's always fascinating to learn how the person across from you was built. Because at the end of the day, we are all built from something. All of us have a reason. And I've also encountered people that try to reject the premise. And I said, okay, then tell me your story. And then they do. And then they realize that they do have a purpose, that there is a reason, and it changes their outlooks. And that's value. That's how you can, I've always said, and I get messages a lot, and it feels like they're always timed really well too. Whenever I'm feeling like I'm done, I'll get a message that is, hey, I wanted you to know that I've been going through a really hard time, but knowing you're there every Tuesday morning has helped me through it immensely. I just wanted to say thank you. And my reaction was, fuck! I gotta keep doing this. Son of a bitch.
I was almost out.
Yeah, I was almost out. You sucked me right back in. But that's the part of it, right? And so, the big impetus is me having breakfast at Gen Con with my buddy James Hudson, who is the owner of Druid City Games. So, the game. If you ever seen the board game Wonderland's War or Tidal Blades, those are his. Like, he built those. And we were having this discussion, and he was just giving me like the rundown because he was working with Skybound Entertainment, and then that broke off. But he was trying to get like the rights to one of his properties back. Like, it was a whole thing, right? And he laid it out in front of me, and I'm just like, man, no one knows these things. Like, no one knows the lengths people have to go through for dreams. And I thought that would have been a good show, and I still do believe it is. But you're kind of doing the thing, and keep doing the thing. Maybe a little more consistently, but keep doing the thing.
I'll work on it.
Right.
Pankaj Bhojwani is one of my biggest fans, and I'm incredibly thankful for that. But every time he sees me, he gets so mad at me that I have released another episode.
Pankaj is a good
kind of busy. Busy doing other things, man. But no, and I'm very happy to announce, I think, assuredly by the time this pod drops, I will have another episode out with Mr. Hayden Dale of Arsenal Pass. And it's
make sure it's a video episode because people love staring at Hayden.
It is, no wonder, myself included.
He's a pretty man. Well, we got a couple listener questions. I kind of want to pop through these really quick because I think that they're actually fairly interesting for you too, I think.
Heck yeah.
The first one's from Pippin42. What's the next class to get a chaos talent? Or what class makes sense for chaos? I want Brute just to be full gambling degenerate, or Bard songs make you go crazy. Okay, I like the Bard song one. That's really good. As somebody who loved to play KO Berserker Runt in Blitz every now and again,
that's a chaos hero, even though he doesn't have the talent.
That's the chaos hero. Charmer actually brought up a good one where chaos wizard that rolls dice for damage, a la Fireball the Room. And I'm like, ship it. I would do that 1,000 times. Roll dice for damage.
That's not a deck I could ever play. That's not a deck I could ever play.
No, of course not. But it's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It is cool.
So what's your chaos?
I think my chaos pitch that I literally just came up with right now is Chaos Illusionist. Where, let's say instead of Phantasm or Mirage, you roll a die to see if it's Phantasm or Mirage. And that'll be, instead of a 6 power attack, either attacking or blocking or being blocked by it, it's any attack. As long as it's an attack action card, you have a chance to pop this thing. But the numbers go bananas. And let's see, we need like a little bit of ward flavor as well somehow, I think. They are... They are... Okay, so it's got instant speed ward effects, kind of like Enigma does, but it has reciprocally bad effects attached to them for both players. So it's like, one of the play patterns is like you play them out on your opponent's turn to mess up something that they're doing in hopes of that you don't screw it up too much to where they can't send an attack and remove your own ward effect so that it's not there for your turn. I don't know.
I would do something like, when this leaves the arena, roll a 6-sided dice. If the result is 5 or 6, return it to the arena under your control.
Oh,
and it's like, yeah, here you go. Ward 4 popped. Roll it. 5. Ward 4. Still going.
I hate it.
I hate it so much. I just want to put my head in a blender now. I fucking don't like this at all. This is Earth Brute levels of bad. Let's not do this.
Yeah. But I don't know. That I guess that could seem fun. I think that was like the last one I would think of, which is exactly why I said it, which is in keeping with the Chaos talent, which I guess ultimately is synonymous with the Opposite Day talent in a lot of way, except for Reviled. Maybe Reviled is the Opposite Day talent.
Kind of.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Because like right. Reviled Brute and Reviled Guardians are basically Bizarro of both of those classes. Is
pretty close.
The way I think about it.
Bizarro, definitely the Guardian.
Definitely.
Definitely the Guardian. The Brute-ish, I guess. I think a Chaos Song talent for a Bard would actually make Yellows pitch for 3, Reds pitch for 2, and Blues pitch for 1. When it's in play, like an aura that's in play, and you have to, and it has a counter that ticks down, and every time you pitch one of the colors, it ticks down, and when the last counter is removed, it's destroyed.
Or here, how about this? Every time you pitch, the numbers that all of the cards pitch for rotate. So it's like, yellow pitches for 3, blue pitches for 1, and then it moves down.
That's chaos. Like, we did it. Ship it. Print it. Josh, proof this. Let's go.
Send it, Josh.
Just ship it. Yeah, we're good. We did it. I swear to God, if they make that one, there's been so many times that we've said something and then 3 months later, that's what they do.
There it is.
Give me that one though.
It's yours.
Next one. Yeah, that's right. Next one's from Captive Goat. I really like getting done up all fancy. I think a FaB tournament with a black tie dress code would be so cool. I know it'd be out of place, but could it ever happen? Please, maybe don't hurt my dreams too badly. I mean, honestly, I'd be in. There's a number of times that I just decided to wear a 3-piece suit to a Magic tournament. Not a big deal there. I think a black tie event could have a place. But I always want the wild things, right? Like, I was trying to talk, I remember talking to Jacob Bertram about this and got him on board immediately, where I'm just like, what about FaB with chess boxing, but with FaB? And so you play a round of Blitz and then get in the ring. And then he's just like, oh, I would 100% do this. And I'm like, I know you will.
Of course Jacob would be on board.
Yeah,
of course Jacob would be on board.
But this would be like, okay, a fancy dinner party followed by a candlelit FaB tournament would be pretty incredible.
That sounds really nice. I think it's kind of weird to make an event where you're automatically excluding all the Brute players, though, right?
I mean, is it? we want to live in a society, Bryce. And I think this is the best.
It's really funny you should mention that. Dude, I think if you want to make that happen, you just should. There are ultimately no rules, right? You can have a home armory where you invite all of your FaB friends over and say, yeah, y'all are dressing up. I'm going to serve Delusis or Stussies, which is delicious hors d'oeuvres.
Yes.
And have a grand old time. Like serve martinis, whatever the hell. Like make
yeah.
that happen and have a fantastic time. This is not me doing a black tie thing, but my version of this is that a while ago, my wife and I invested in a Kickstarter for like a board game table, right? We just thought it was like, oh, this seems like a reasonable thing.
Was it the fake
There's
one?
a billion of them. There's a billion of them.
Yeah.
This was
there was the fake one.
Oh, there was a fake one?
There was a fake one.
I dodged that. I dodged that bullet. So there's a million of them. A lot of them are wood. This one was I forget what type of metal, but it's metal.
Is it Fox? Was it that one?
Possibly. It's King. King is in the name because they always send the little update emails and they go, "Sire, welcome to your." Yeah. Okay, it's them. And it's awesome. It's fairly inexpensive as far as furniture goes, and it's also modular. Like you can move cup holders around and everything. So it wasn't fake. We got it eventually. And so my dream for that was to have a home armory where I like entertain people. I love entertaining people. I love making things from scratch. And so one of the many hobbies that I have engaged with is home brewing, home beer making. And so I really wanted to have a home armory where I had a kegerator set up with nothing but Bryce beer on tap. And it's come to fruition several times. I've had like testing parties with the AG Pro team, and it's my beer on tap and great games of Flesh and Blood being paid.
You send me an invite. I would come drink your beer.
Like, okay, 100%.
It's funny. One of my close friends here is now playing Flesh and Blood, and he is the head of production for what I would call the best brewery, probably in the Midwest. Like it's on the level, multiple golds in World Beer Cups and such. Confluence Brewing, and the fact that he just was going to find out that you're a beer nerd is going to make him as excited as humanly possible. So. We were out last night. So Iowa Tap Room is a tap room here where it has just all Iowa beers on tap, and they have a few hundred taps. And so we were sitting there just plowing through a bunch of stuff that, in breweries that I didn't know. I mean, he did because obviously, and so, but like we were going through a bunch of stuff. So I was drinking like a Czech Dark. That was incredibly good. I love a Mexican lager, like a really deep, like good build of flavor Mexican lager. They had one of those on tap that I was in love with. I always like when I want it, I really want that velvety, crushable, juicy IPA. That very like cashmere hop is like the feel I want. I want that velvety feel. My favorite hop is Idaho 7. Like not close to close. But the cashmere texture is usually cashmere Nelson are the textures that like I drive towards. I can fucking do this for hours. Let's not. That's a different ball game.
What if I want to? I'm the guest.
All right, that's true. And I also cook a ton. Like that's the other thing.
Awesome.
I love cooking and experimenting and figuring things out. I hate baking because I can't taste it.
Yeah, me too.
So I hate baking.
I like to do a little bit of this, a little of that. I don't like to worry about
baking is science. Cooking is art, and I'm a fucking artist.
Yeah.
So straight up. I tell my wife that and she gets pissy. But let's get to the last listener question and get you out of here because I know you haven't really called time. It's from Vintox. It's a question from Logan again. Well, yeah, I bumped him again. But that was when I found out that there was no charmer and we were doing some fill-in stuff. So one of our Patreon tiers is to be a guest host. And of that tier, he's the only one that hasn't been able to come on, but there's been a lot of different reasons. One of them, he tried and his computer literally couldn't. So I took my spare computer and got it to him. And now he has my spare machine. He gave me cases of compendium for it. So whatever. But, but now he has my spare computer and he sends, because like when he's trying to get on the first time, I'm like, can you just run a speed test and just send me a picture, of what the results are. And it was like 2.5 up and like 0.7 down or some shit. And I'm like, that is
how's the up bigger than the down?
Good question. And so
never happening.
That shouldn't be possible. I don't know what the hell's bottlenecking. what's your computer? And he kind of sends me like a loose spec of it. I'm like, oh, that ain't gonna work. That's like a compact Celeron from 2003. Fuck this.
Oh, no.
And so I gave him, like, I got him this machine. We streamed with it when I was doing our 24-hour charity stream. So this was the computer that was streaming my matches when I got decided on camera. And don't play FaB on no sleep. It's a bad idea. And especially when you're just not thinking about things. But so then he sent me a picture of like him getting it hooked up at home, and it was like 272 down and 190 up, and I'm like,
there we go.
Those are real numbers. We can do this.
There
now.
We go.
He's back in the queue to get on. It was going to be this week, but then Charmer reminded me that he was in Vegas, and I was like, all right, that doesn't work. Shit. And then next week doesn't work because of Joshua Scott, but the week after, so we'll be targeting that. Unlucky. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what we always do, thank some patrons, and get out of here. We have our associate producers on up. We have Andy, Sindra, Anthony, Isra. Yes, Iswardi Theriento is a patron of our show. Jacob, Aladoris, Octothorptopus, Sofsky, and Heiner and Sleep Coma. Heiner of White Rabbit TCGs, by the way. Or White Rabbit CGS. He's the fucking best. Like, he just is. That's the thing, is like, my goal is to get Heiner, Isra, a few other the cast of characters to come to Gen Con and do that with me, because I love Gen Con. It's so fun. Then we have our executive producers. We have Lance Goodthrust, he's back. Blaze Storm, value member of the Patreon. Diana, the green cosplayer. John, Charlie, our possum supporter, the Delusion data analyst. And then the Chargers Chamber of Charcoal participants, Trevor Baker. No, not that one. That's Vintox. His name is, there are two Trevor Bakers in FaB in Gen. Right. One of them is the head of, organized play. Right. And the other one is the dipshit at my local game store.
Hell yeah.
So, then Matt, the Jackal, Brandon, El Dorte, the Hammer, and then our ceiling fan. I don't know if you've ever heard the story of how the ceiling fans came about, but our it was at Gen Con, and we were at dinner with my friends that are not FaB people, and Charmer and his son. And my buddy Matt, his sardonic sense of humor is just undefeated. When he's on a heater, it's a heater. So the first thing that happens is Stark, Charmer's son, walks in with Charmer, and he's got a bucket hat on, wearing sunglasses indoors in this really nice Italian restaurant. And my buddy Matt looks at him and goes, "You look like fucking Hunter S. Thompson made out of stem cells. What the fuck is this?" And I'm just like, oh, he's on a heater. Oh no, this cannot go well. And at one point, Charmer was making his normal like jokes about testing the tensile strength of ceiling fans. And he looks at me and goes, "Why isn't that your top Patreon tier?" And I'm like, good point. Why isn't that the top Patreon tier? And so now it is. And so Rich is our ceiling fan, and it is built to, its rewards are built to just be a digital cuck share. That's amazing. What we did. And he immediately signed up once he figured out what it was. I didn't think anybody would. I thought I had built it in a way that no one would actually do this. I was wrong. There's always one. But there's always one. If you need to contact us, you can send us an email at fleshandpod@gmail.com. You can find us on BlueSky, just search FleshandPod. Or the best thing you can do is just join our Discord. It's free. We don't paywall anything. So hop on in, have a discussion. You can join us in the Brews with Bravo channel. Or if you're feeling that high level of existential dread, you can go to the Kicker Guards Corner and let it all out to some ears, and bend an ear to somebody that will listen. So come on in and join. Do not go to the Chuckles with Charmer channel. Those dad jokes are goddamn awful. I have it muted for a fucking reason. They're terrible. Don't do it. Bryce, where can they find you?
In the Chuckles with Charmer.
God damn it!
Discord. That's where they can find me.
Son of a bitch. I lose one every day.
You can find me on both X and BlueSky. It's Bryce Platz. On both of those platforms should bring me up. And then you can also find me chained to the proverbial radiator in the basement of the AGE YouTube channel. I am there every single month as headcaster for the majority of our events. I am trying to take a break this year. Please allow me to do so and give us some casting talent that can pull their weight. I'm just kidding. We have a lot of really good casters that are going to be helping.
I say, holy shit, we're
not disparaging anybody. I am just going to actually be a good boy and take my breaks when I can. Besides that, you can also find me at my podcast, which is going to be on the AG YouTube channel. It is also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. The name of that podcast is, of course, Cardboard and Beyond. It's all about really intimate conversations, much like the one that you just heard over the last 2 hours with the biggest names in flesh and blood. You can also find me on the FaBTCG YouTube channel time and time again. My next show coming up, I don't think I'm going to get in trouble for saying, is Calling Sao Paulo, which is going to be in May. I want to say the 13th to the 15th. I'm getting back in the booth with what some people call the greatest bromance in FaB, and I'm not discouraging it, with Felipe Lima Cardoso. So I'm really excited about that, and just more games of flesh and blood. If I see you at an event, I would love to talk to you about this game that we both love. So don't be shy.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we'll definitely run this back. It was a good time. And I'll see you in probably Minneapolis in June is my guess. So
100%. I will be casting that as well.
Perfect. So, well, that might have been spoiled news too. Who knows? But again, who gives a shit? But thank you so much for joining me and hanging out with me. It's been a pleasure. And everybody else, you know what? I was looking forward to not saying this, but here it is. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.